This day for Aunt Evelyn. So I said to Eddie, what should we say on the button? He said, Evelyn Theil, she's got a very nice son and one that's okay. Peter Theil said to me, she's got two wonderful sons. I counted with, what if we said she's got two sons that are all right, but her nieces and nephews are really terrific.
Yay!
Then I thought of a really good one. Evelyn Theil, I collected antiques so many years I finally am one. But a wiser head, my wife Elena prevailed, and she came up with Evelyn Theil, a woman of the 90s. And she truly is. And I'd like to tell a little story about Evelyn Theil, but first, I want to tell you that a friend of ours by the name of Colleen Marks is famous. She's the poet laureate of Kendall Park, and she wrote a very nice poem to commemorate this day, and it's entitled 1908. And the first one to read, these are all great nieces and some grandchildren, as you can see, Aunt Evelyn. So the first one will be Emma Louise with the beautiful knees.
Howard Taft became our president, and Lyndon B. Johnson is born. I said Isadora Duncan prances and twirls in a new kind of dance she performs. King Edward VII meets his cousin the Cesar. The last one, but little they know, the union of South Africa is a new country, increased joined with great Forster gives us a room with a view, and the course of a true love wins the day. Montgomery Penn, Annie of Green Gables, and an orphan still awkward away. Graham Rice with Linda Willows, our children lives enriching Elgar creates his Symphony No. 1. What's good for DM is good for America. That's hard to the corporate thieves. Henry Ford built his first Model T. Yes, a car, the American dream. And our pods get easier to handle. HK on it, liquefied helium. Be careful, put out that candle. The Trojan pen becomes popular and writing is no longer medieval. Baseball gets tough and makes it the law. This spitball is now illegal. Barron's constructs a factory in Berlin, the first ever of glass and steel. Wilbur Wright flies 30 miles in 40 minutes. Take that, you all. Ottoman.
Don't make a mistake, Corbin.
Jack Johnston wins the heavyweight crown the first time for a black. Chicago wins the World Series 4-1 and gives Detroit a...
Yay, Joel!
Because they don't want to read. Is that funny?
Missy's coins a new term, Cubism, as modern art is the rage. The Ashkin School of Artists in New York gives everyday history a page. But for us is Evelyn Theil, who is this year's big event, and we all gather to celebrate how much to us she is meant.
There's a copy of this for
There'll be other chances. Not like that, but you'll be able to pick tonight.
To the token booth clerk at the education station. He was sitting in the token booth brushing his hair, and I wrote, he brushed his head and brushed some more. He seemed not to have a hair. But guess what? neither did he have any hair. He twirled his mustache and pulled the whiskers on his chin, and with a wicked little grin he thought, oh, what a night this will be, filled with intrigue and mystery, and who knows, it might even go down in history. And listen to this, and I kid you not, right then and there, he became Don Juan on the spot. He was so excited about his night on the town that he completely forgot, and he left his teeth still soaking in the pot. The moral of the tale that I have just told thee is, what fools we mortals can sometimes be. But in another vein, this is to my dear Aunt Evelyn. And it goes like this. Dear Aunt Evelyn, how can I start to tell you how I feel about you in my heart? You are a lady, elegant and refined, not just, and you really care. All these years, with each one, your love, you did share. You speak words of wisdom, that is your way. I am as grateful and as happy as can be that you are a member of our family, and you are an important branch of our family tree. Thank you for your loving, understanding ways. And thank you for listening to me all of these days. And thank you for always remembering me. May many blessings be showered upon those dear to you and upon thee. Would anybody like to hear another?
This was on Aunt Evelyn's lawn in Hunter, and have it on the side of the house. And so what I've done was I've taken cuttings of it, and if anybody would like to take a cutting of it to keep everything, the memory of Hunter going, I'd be happy to wrap it up for you and put it in a plastic bag. So please let me know if you'd like that. You know, all of us have stories about Aunt Evelyn, and you'll all get your turn to embarrass her, because this is basically a roast. One of the wonderful things that happened here today, I saw cousins that I haven't seen for a very long time, like Gordon Theil and his wonderful wife and children, and Mike Appel and Bob, and Bob and Leonard Kaufman, and it's really great to see them. It's really great to see everybody here. I'd like to invite everybody up to share something about Aunt Evelyn.
I have waited 60 years to make this apology. Many years ago,
We don't accept it.
you have to accept it. Many years ago in Hunter, Aunt Evelyn and Uncle Joe had a grocery store. Eddie was a baby, and I used to watch him in the carriage. And I helped my Aunt Gus sometimes in the grocery store. I'd start working July 1st, right after school ended, and after Labor Day, went back to school. Now this grocery store had a very large salami hanging from a hook. And every day, I took a little slice of that salami. We never sold any, but by Labor Day, the salami disappeared. So Aunt Evelyn, I want you to know, I owe you a salami. I intend to repay it to you. Very good. Who's next?
My memory, I have a lot of memories of Aunt Evelyn, but I have one that, when Peter had mentioned it, just popped up in my mind. My mother and Phyllis and I lived in an apartment in Brooklyn. It was a walk-up, and it was so small you could just touch the walls by extending your arms. And Aunt Evelyn and Uncle Joe used to come down from Hunter, and Aunt Evelyn would say to my mother, Gussie, these girls will never get married from this apartment. So my mother really had to hear that. We rented a beautiful apartment in Queens, and voila! There it is.
Or anybody prepares cantaloupe and puts shredded lime rind on it, we all say, just like Aunt Evelyn would do it. But I do also remember her wonderful concoction of baking our sneakers in the oven after we'd go wading in the creek up in Hunter, as we called it, the creech. And our sneakers would get wet, and she would put them in the oven to dry, and that impressed me very much. But sneakers aside, Evelyn's a wonderful, wonderful woman, and I'm very, very delighted that we can all be with her on this wonderful day. I love you, Aunt Evelyn.
I get to hug this a little bit because I'm her son and her favorite son. We know a lot about Mom, but there are a lot of things you don't know about Mom. That only I and Ed maybe know.
Peter, you said you weren't going to talk about that.
I know. You may not know that Mom has the Wearing Blender Award for 5 years in a row. And the reason she has this is because when I was about 5 years old, and I didn't eat my food, she would gather the leftovers day after day, put them in the blender, spaghetti, spinach, liver, potatoes, everything.
Bananas, bananas.
Blend them up, and then she would sit me down.
And it was a mishmash.
And mishmash, this brown gook would come. And she would tell me the story about Coco and Loco. And every time I asked a question about Coco and Loco, she'd come in, zero in with the spoon, and shove it down my throat. And then afterwards, as a treat, because the food was so awful, she would lead me to the refrigerator, take out an amber bottle, which had cod liver oil. And she shoved that down my throat. And that's why I have the hair I have today. That's why I have that. There was also, when Ed and I and Dad would be sitting at dinner. This I know you don't know. And we always had a lot of company. But sometimes the company came over unexpectedly. Now a lot of you know the Delinsky's, there were the Gordons, and the Meisels, and the Rogers. When they would come over unexpectedly, and we would be in the middle of dinner, Mom would sweep up the plates. And we'd have the fork towards our mouth, and that would be the last morsel that we would have for the day. You didn't know this. They were all well-to-do, but they, you know, the starving Armenians, these were the starving Rogers, the starving Delinsky's, and the starving Gordons. And Mom didn't want to, you know, embarrass them by having this bountiful plate in front of us. They'd come over. The opposite side of that is that Mom would also make these incredible dinners for everybody. And we had a lot of people come over. It was a lot of fun. But Mom wouldn't let anybody in the kitchen. And she would let Ed and me do the pots and pans, but only Soph and Mom could do the china and the silverware. Only those two. And I discovered why that was. The starving Delinsky's and the starving Gordons and the starving Rogers, they were also thieves. And Mom didn't trust them in the kitchen. She could only let certain people touch the silverware. The other thing about Mom is, and this is Alan refers to as the giving of benedictions. Mom does give benedictions. And you've all seen the Pope, newsreels of the Pope standing on his balcony, and he's waving to the crowd like this. You have to watch his lips very carefully the next time you see this, because the Pope is very close to Mom. He'll call up and he'll say, "Evelyn, I need a benediction." And Mom will say, "Pope, here's one." So the next time you see the Pope, watch his lips. He's saying, "Richard by you." Richard by you, everybody. We also have the Queen. The Queen is very close to Mom. The Queen Elizabeth. And she, you know, every once in a while she has to go ceremonial out in her carriage and everything. She doesn't like her subjects very much. She calls up Mom, she says, "Evelyn, I got to take a parade. I don't like these subjects very much. You know how I feel about them. I have to have something nice to say to them from the carriage." And she says, "Liz, it's okay here." So watch the next time you see a newsreel, and the Queen is going like this, waving her little hand, you know, very strenuously, like this. Gag is into hay. Gag is into hay. All over. That's Mom. She's very famous for that. There's another story about Mom. She also has, from the Hotel Association, the Chambermaid Award. When we'd go and drove Dad crazy, go to a hotel, Barbizon Plaza all the time. They came down to see me in Riverdale a lot. And they'd stay at the hotel or at Soaps. But when they stayed at the hotel, they'd wake up in the morning, and Mom would make the bed. Dad would say, "Why are you making the bed? She has to strip the bed." And Mom would say, "I don't want them to think that we're slobs." Make the bed. She made the bed and then walked out of the room. Of course, the chambermaid had to undo the bed and everything. So she has the award from the Hotel Association for that one. But
ended it down for you.
Yeah, I should have ended it. Yeah. The last thing is, there was in Hunter, everybody who's ever been up to Hunter knows, there's a bridge that goes between our house and the village. The large village of Hunter, all 500 people. One day I was up there with Corbin and Ashley. They were about 8 and 3. I'm sitting in the backyard and I see them skipping merrily down the road. Bye-bye, Dad. Going down to get some bread at Sturtz's grocery store. I rush into the house. I said, Mom, what is going on here? Because Mom never let me go across the bridge until I was 21. There is a troll who lives under that bridge. And he was out to get me specifically. And I was afraid that this troll that Mom had told me about was going to get my 2 daughters. But she assured me that the troll was gone and my kids were going down at the age of 5. So we're here to celebrate your birthday and to honor you. And I will say for Ed, I never speak for Ed. I should speak more often for Ed because no one ever understands what he's saying. But I speak for Ed. We admire you a great deal. And we love you very much. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Peter. That was very well spoken. You know, I promised Eddie that I would.
And Pat have been wandering around and asking people for just words. I don't know if any of you know about this, but we've gotten a few. I just wondered if we can get some adjectives from anybody. I need a couple of adjectives. Joey, give me an adjective.
Loving.
Loving.
What's an adjective?
Something that... I need a word that modifies a thing.
Classy.
Classy. Super.
Adventurous.
Adventurous. Okay, now we've been wandering around and doing this, and I wanted to read to you the results of what we got. Once upon a time, there was a wonderful relative named Evelyn. This is a crazy story about her. It's about our sleazy family as well, and the grubby things we did in foggy Hunter. We remember so many wonderful summer weekends in dazzling Hunter. It was always crazy there, no matter whether it was summer or winter. Whenever the interesting mood struck us, we would call Curly and Evelyn and say, we want to come to see you this weekend. Invariably, Aunt Evelyn would say either wonderful or bad, and we knew she meant it. And it didn't matter much because we knew we'd always be welcome in dazzling Hunter. We came by mule or car or by boat train. We bought grub and food and salt. We tried to be wonderful guests. We tried to be wonderful guests, but Aunt Evelyn would not allow us to have anything but fun and love. She cooked, cleaned, and weeded, and watched us while we ate it. We never had to worry about dust. There was always plenty. They were cooked also, and we never helped to serve grubby dust. If we missed that weekend, there was always the next one. When we were in colorful Hunter, we felt very necessary. That was because slimy fields were chaotic hosts. They seemed to know the last of the population of Greene County, and they all came over on Saturday because there were always enough worms and raw food for all. We realize now that sometimes we took advantage of our fair-minded aunt and uncle. They never let on that they minded us dropping in the middle of the night or at 5 or 6 in the morning. That's because our aunts and uncle were legendary in hospitality and kindness. We love you so much, Aunt Evelyn, for keeping all of us together and giving us so much good, rusty food and limitless love to remember. It will last for many lifetimes.
My mother, you really were. And I want to thank Aunt Evelyn for coming to Karen's graduation, which meant a great deal to us. And I remember Uncle Joe and Uncle Bummy and Norman got me my first bicycle. And Uncle Joe said that I was not allowed to ride it in July and August because of all the traffic in Hunter. And I certainly listened to him. I would never question Uncle Joe. And just all in all, I have some competition here. It was just wonderful feelings about you and going to your parties and the yummy food and just all the fun and the kashibanishes. And I really love you very, very much.
I'm at a loss for words as far as textile chemistry honors go. I'll get back to the food, Evelyn. I do also remember your nurturing Peter, and once you had that food puree chasing him around the dining room table holding a little spoon in the hand, that was fun that he really probably didn't want to have. But your nurturing was symbolized, I think, by this food, was extended by this food to everybody. And perhaps because you and Joe had so very little when you were first married, you lived in Hunter, this became part of your saying that I love you, I love the entire family, and I want to do something for you. And I felt also that you are really a very warm, all-embracing center to the family, and you remain to this very day. And as everybody else has said, I love you so much. It's so great to see you here today. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Michael. That was very well said. You know, Maxine, you want to speak? Myron, can Maxine say a few words? Oh, sorry, Maxine. You know, you got to get permission.
When I first met Aunt Evelyn, it was over 50 years ago. And I came up to Hunter and I thought, what a classy, elegant lady. What a beautiful home. And I thought the rest of the family was going to be like that.
It's not one of the lovely granddaughters, I can assure you. But it's nice that Mike is here.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Evelyn. You know, one thing that the Theils have brought to my family, and actually without the Theils I wouldn't be here, is that my parents met at Breezy Hill. And I guess my mother was, I'm told, was a singer in the hotel, and her brother played the violin. She did. So without you guys and your family and our family, I wouldn't be here. You know, Evelyn and I have been keeping in touch, and it's been wonderful speaking with her. And I'm just really pleased to see you in person. And we have very fond memories of Hunter. Evelyn, about 20 years ago, she and Joe, I think, had some extra duty as one of my children, Allison, you recall, was working in a camp in Hunter and needed a little supervision, and you remember? And Evelyn was very nice to help us. Evelyn, many, many more years, and happy birthday.
To go up there. My Uncle Joe got me my first job with Shmuel the tailor. And I was very jealous of Shmuel the tailor because his wife, Mamie, would make this exotic dish for lunch, fruit compote. I don't know what it was. It looked like it kept you regular all the time. But I was very jealous I couldn't get any of that. I got a very big salary. I had a pension plan and a profit-sharing plan. My job was to write one blue dress with one blue belt. That was the only customer that week that had one blue dress with one blue belt. Otherwise, it was very quiet. So I got out of that job by cutting my foot in what my son Rob called the creech. Because what does he know about creeks? John Aston, the undertaker, took me to Dr. Rodia, who stitched me up again. But my earliest memories was of the graciousness of my aunt. She lived in this wonderful house on the corner opposite the Heller's department store people. You could have been the merchandise manager there by this time. And when Aunt Evelyn entertained, it was like a cornucopia. I don't think she owned two dishes that matched. She would go to the Hunter Theater on Wednesday nights for dishes, but they never gave the same dish out, right, Aunt Evelyn? No matter whether the dishes matched or not, the food was copious, bountiful, and she made everybody feel welcome, and everybody felt the love that was there. What shall I tell you? It's great to have you here. We all love you, and we wish you a happy birthday, many more. I'd like everybody to be able to sign that banner so Aunt Evelyn can take it back home with her and have a memory of today.
Okay, you guys, let's play football now. Yeah. Anybody know how to play football?
What's happening? You're gonna play too, aren't you?
Here in Sackler, wine red.
Leah, look. Leah, look at me.
You have that camera? This is a panoramic camera. You've got to let us know if you're all in it. Well, everybody get in there. Let's smush together. Okay, with all the kids, kneel down. Where do we want to? Somebody lift her up. In the center. Can we get Aunt Evelyn in the center? Elena. Elena.
Everybody wave.
Too many photographers make a bad picture. Is this the press tour?
What a homely bunch, my God. The kids are cute, though. Jeez.
Taking Edward, taking us.
Yes, right.
You're not quite sure how far back this goes back. Probably the 1800s.
Thank you for doing that, Tom. I might go buy myself some shirts and glasses. I'll take you.
Let's fold it up so it doesn't. No, not that one. All right, well, still. I'll see you in a little while. Can you fold it or?